Hi, my name's Jamo from a company called Xcase in the UK. Find us on the web at www.xcase.co.uk. Just doing a build in one of our 424 Pro-EX chassis. Some changes recently to the chassis as far as the cooling is concerned, and I just want to go over that. And also an interesting little build because of the motherboard used, and I just wanted to go through that also. So for those who's not seen any videos on the 424 Pro-EX, it's basically a 24 bay chassis. Each of the 24 caddies will take either 2.5 inch or 3.5 inch SATA SAS or SSD drives. I've got a couple of drives connected currently to it, and you'll see the blue lights there. And every so often they're going to flash away with a bit of drive activity. And above those is also an amber light, which really is only going to come on if you drive locating or you get a fault in one of the drives. And the amber light will blink away just to give you warning signals, commonly known as SGPIO. So okay, it's got a power button at the front which lights up, reset button, a hard drive activity light, that's not for the hot swaps, that's just for internal drives, and a couple of LAN lights. So just internally, fitted here with a micro ATX motherboard, but it'll also take a standard ATX and an extended ATX, as well as an ITX if you so wish. As said, this is the EX version. That means it's got an expander backplane. On the expander backplane you get 3 mini SAS connectors. The bottom 2 are used for inputs and the top one's an output. So if you're connecting to an 8-port RAID card or HBA card, as we are here, then you'd use the bottom 2, which would control all the 24 drives, and you'd use the top one for external cable, perhaps to a JBOD. To power it, there's 5 Molexes. You don't need to connect all 5, we've just got 3 connected here, but obviously the more power connectors connected to it, the more power going to the backplane feeding the drives. See the heatsink there, that's the LSI chip that's built onto the backplane, and that's the SAS expansion part. So commonly now most HBA and RAID cards support SAS expansion, so although they may be an 8-port card, they'll go anything up to 256 or more hard drives. So the interesting part about this build, I guess, is it's using a Supermicro motherboard. The model number is X11SSL-CF, sorry about that. Nothing special about the board as such, although it's a brilliant price board for what it does. It's got a couple of LAN at the rear, still got IPMI on a standard LAN port. It's got a serial port, USB 2, yes, and USB 3. You've got 4 standard 6GB SATAs, 2 powered 6GB SATAs, 16 PCI Express times 16, an 8 and a 1. Taking latency on E3 version 5s and up to 64 meg of DDR4 ECC memory. But the best bit about this board is it's got an embedded 388 RM424 SAS Controller. So that means if you connect that to the 2 ports on the SAS expander backplane, even though it's an 8 port, the SAS expansion backplane will do its magic, and the card and the backplane together will then allow you to control all 24 drives from just these 2 connections. The chassis itself will take a standard ATX power supply as shown here, but it will also take a 2U specific one or a 2U redundant power supply. 7 expansion slots, and we've got these 3 120mm fans. Now this thing's currently running. And it's showing that we've got a drive on 5 and 23. I know where 5 and 23 are. It goes up from 0 and then to 23 at the top here. But if you so wished, you can locate a drive. And hopefully, excuse my fingers, you'll see that it's flashing up there. I just press space on the keyboard, asked it to locate the drive, and it will give a different coloured light, which is actually amber, but for some reason it looks green on this phone. And so here's a useful feature. Now, before, these fans used to sit on a fan daughter board, which then, from the fan daughter board, we used to have one 4-pin connector that used to go to the motherboard, and that would control all 3 fans, and they'd speed up and slow down based on the CPU temperature. However, that was alright, but in the IPMI on the Supermicro boards, etc., you could only actually see that 1 fan was running, whereas you got 3. So we've gone away from that now. So each of the fans connects directly through a 4-pin header on a separate cable to the motherboard. And so they're all running independently and can be seen so in the Supermicro IPMI. Now, there is a bit of a problem with that, not for most people or data centers, etc., but for the home user, because they do run louder or faster than they used to on the single cable. And a lot of customers like this chassis because it's quiet. So if you're a home user, you've got 2 options. Option 1, as I've done here, just use a simple fan reducer in between. So that's still connecting to the motherboard, but there's a little chip on it that just reduces the voltage and reduces the fan speed. Now, you can hardly hear these things now, but there's a nice breeze coming through. The other option is just completely remove these fans. They're just connected there to a little daughter board. Remove that as well. And then you've just got your standard fan holes, and you can screw in any standard domestic fan that you prefer to run directly to the motherboard. For us in commercial terms, we'd send this out with the fans running at a decent rate, so that the drives stay cool and everybody is happy. But we understand the domestic user wants a lower speed fan, and as I said, you can either do it with fan reducers or just take these out and fit a different make of lower noise domestic fans. So, other things I can tell you about the 424 Pro quickly is that if you want to fit internal hard drives, there's a little pair of brackets that fit here and here. I'm not using them, so I just used it for a bit of a cable tidy. But they'll take one 2.5 inch drive each, so you can fit two internal 2.5 inch drives. You've got a space at the rear here for a further two 60mm fans. Now, in fairness, I don't think many people bother with them, and they're not really required. And you've also got a problem on a lot of motherboards of fan headers. So there you go, just a little update on the 424 Pro EX. Fans are changed a little bit. And also, if you want to do a nice, cheap, low-cost solution for something like ZFS, 3 NAS, etc., you can get yourself a nice little Supermicro board with the embedded 3008, flash it to IT mode, and you've got a really nice, low-cost server. So there we go. Sorry if the video is a bit shaky because I'm using my phone, which I don't normally do. Thanks very much for listening.